All right, welcome back to another little update video. I worked on the project quite a bit today, on an aspect of it that I've been kind of putting off for a while because I didn't know the best way to do it. Let me just show you really quick. So up until this point, I think I kind of mentioned it in the last video, but in order to grab this information, well, let me just start over. I was not grabbing this information from anywhere. The amount of time that it takes to create one, the amount of food that is required, the stats for each one. I was not gathering that from a database. I just put that in there. And in order to display that information, last time I showed it here, now I'm showing it up here. I had to call a function that goes into the database and grabs that information about the user and then put it into each page where I want that information to be. And like that's why I didn't have it here, because I didn't feel like going through my routes and figuring out the best way to do that. But now I've got this here that is built into the navbar EJS file, which includes the navigation bar at the bottom, the top banner at the top, and now it includes this sidebar. And it will show your Nitra, which I haven't really talked about this, but basically Nitra is a resource that acts as like a currency, I guess, for now at least. I don't know, I might add gold in the future, but for now it's a currency and also a resource to build things such as, a new science lab or like weapons room, like, upgrading weapons, or could be used to do research to, I don't know, create dwarves faster. So that's kind of the purpose of that. Just a little, I don't know. I thought it would be kind of cool getting it from Deep Rock Galactic. These images I got, actually, I think I got them for free from itch.io, and I don't know if it's final. I really like the look of Nitro. Like it's exactly, if I was actually artistically talented, what I'd probably draw it as. The food, it's just a pixelated image of a dragon fruit. I'm kind of, I didn't really know what type of food would make sense to have for like underground cave dwarves. I mean, I can find plenty of images of like pixelated apples or bananas or whatever, but it's like, I don't really think they would have access to those. And I guess you could say the same thing about dragon fruit, but I kind of think it looks like an insect egg. So I don't know if they would be eating like those. Maybe that would be something where they like farm insects, and that's kind of how the farmers like gather food. And obviously there'll be some like plants. It'll probably be something like this where it's like a mushroom or something like that. But anyway, that was a huge sidetrack. It now displays the user's food and nitro everywhere. It passes in a variable that contains all user information, such as what resources you have, the stats that the user has, like what level their laboratory is or whatever. I don't actually have that stuff yet, but it'll be in there in the database, and that's where it's getting it from. So now it'll be everywhere and very easy to access, which is like the main thing. What I've actually done is these aren't going to be final, I don't think. I kind of just found these in a pack that was like either free or maybe like $1 or something like that. But I don't know. I just wanted a little something to make it look a little bit nicer. So I just kind of added these, and yeah. So back to that variable that I've passed in. It actually gets actual stats about the different dwarf types. So these are not hard coded anymore. These are actually pulled from the database. So if I went and changed them to be, say I want to make scouts stronger or whatever, change it in there, do a little SQL, and then yeah, this will automatically update. Same with these. And you'll see that these two are actually different from the ones below. What this is I've set it up to, this will automatically update using the food cost for each dwarf whenever the user decides to make a certain amount. So for example, scouts take 10 resources or 10 food to create. So if you want to make, say like 1,000 of them, then it'll cost 10,000. Or tanks, they cost 50 food. So, if you make 10 of them, that's going to be 500 food. And also, this kind of goes back to something I was having some trouble figuring out the next step with in the last video, but the maximum amount that a user can, go over here to create is no longer like a million or like 10,000, 100,000, whatever it was last time. It's just the amount of dwarves that the user would be able to create with the amount of food that they have. So, for example, the user has 123,000 food, so they can only make 12,300 dwarves, or roughly. And like same thing here, just up to whatever number like fits evenly to whatever food they have. And I don't have it here yet. It's just kind of annoying to, just having to like copy everything over. And then it kind of takes me back to, obviously this button, that's not what it's going to look like. I don't know what I want this to look like. So right now, I mean, I'll be frank, it's really ugly looking. I kind of did some like last minute swapping around. Like this used to be like over here, but this is just not how I want it to look. It was more about the concept at the time, to be honest. But yeah, I want to make this look good because I know it does not. So, um, oh, and this is another thing. So I've got it to where you can actually toggle if you want to view this or not, and there's kind of no reason to toggle it if you're in full screen, kind of like I am. But if you go down to phone screen size, that's why I added this, because it's kind of going to be like floating here. I just decided to kind of push it there at whatever size. And I don't really know the best way I could have done that. I mean, I think this is a pretty good workaround, I guess. If you want to open it up, you can just view it right there, close it back up. And the reason I did that is because we can actually use like Firefox DevTools really quick. Yeah, so this is the size of, like an iPhone. Well, I can't show this here, but say I've got this open and I go to type a message and the keyboard opens up. Well, I've tested it out on my own phone and the keyboard goes up to about almost the middle of the screen. So you'd have just enough space to just see what message you're typing in, and you might not even have that. And that's kind of a little bit my fault. This chin on this div is just massive. Like I need to shrink this size, like I don't know, to be the same font as that, maybe a little bit smaller, and just like this padding is just like absurd. I don't know why I did that. Probably I was like editing one of these and it just happened to affect this one as well. But yeah, so that's why. So now you can close this, and now at least, even with the way it is, which I'll end up changing, but at least that way you'll be able to see this message in like, I don't know, maybe the next like 2 messages. Another thing I need to do is just like make these messages smaller so you're gonna see more messages at the same time. Part of the problem is the date on old messages is actually longer than the date on messages that were recently sent. So an old message will put out this like giant time here, but a current message will be here. Hit refresh, and puts that giant date on there. So I need to like shorten that up. Maybe just make it look like this, but include the year or something like that. Not entirely sure yet, but yeah. I would like to make it to where this is like a smooth transition, but honestly, I don't really know how to do that when I'm setting the display to none. So Mike can do some help on that, but not super concerned about that now, just because that's like purely cosmetic. I mean, I have the same issue on the messages page where you click the button and it just like juts out. It's there and then it's not, and it's kind of ugly. So anyways, that's pretty much all I've got for right now. So I appreciate you watching and talk to you later.